we put our regalia on, it connects us to the animal world, and the rattle, the sounds, is like a heartbeat. It connects us to our Tsleil-Waututh, to our ancestors. In our language, Tsleil-Waututh means people of the inlet Tsleil-Waututh Nation. In our Musqueam language, Sälilwätaḻ, məsteyəxʷ, and so that's the people of Burrard Inlet. And so Tsleil-Waututh is our name for Burrard Inlet and Indian Arm. We've been here since time immemorial. Our history goes back to before the last ice age. And for our people, the Burrard Inlet, we see it as the womb of our people, or as the grandmother of our people and who we are. Our Tsleil-Waututh ancestors, they paddled these waters, the ocean, the Salish Sea, and beyond. And so the ocean, the rivers, the water was our highways. And it was a vast network where our people traded and interacted and had such a rich economy that, brought us all together. There's been a lot of impacts and a lot of changes, and our nation, as I'm director of our Treaty Lands and Resources Department, we work hard to counter those impacts of colonization, those impacts of industrialization. Today, you saw they were measuring crabs, and they want to see how big they are in a particular time of year. This is the southernmost mountain fjord on the west coast of North America. And this mountain fjord provided such an abundance. The ocean, the fish, the sea mammals, all of this provided for such a rich lifestyle and allowed for our culture to develop in such a strong way. We put a lot of work into our territory. We would say, we have to protect, we have to take care of the Tsawwassen, of the Sgsmåkwa. We have to protect and take care of the land and the ocean. We monitor the water quality in the inlet and in our streams. We count the salmon. We restore the stocks of the salmon. And everything that we take from the earth, we always have gratitude for.
The Tsawwassen people have lived for thousands of years and carried our lifestyle in the Tsawwassen area. Our traditional territories went from the Boundary Bay up the Georgia Strait and up the Fraser River. I started learning how to fish. I was probably 9, 10, maybe 12. I would come out fishing with Russell Williams. He was one of our elders. Russell was the chief back then, and he would always fish for the nation. We have the ability to sell, to make some money, to pay for costs and whatnot, but also, I think the most important is just being out in the water. It's fun being out here, and then family coming together back at fish camp. We call it fish camp, and that's where we bring out the knives and start cleaning the fish, and yeah, it's awesome to watch.
My daughter's 9, so this year is the first year that she's come on board, and she was a little trepidatious at first, but she's a natural. She loves it and was asking when she could come back out again. So
now I can see like my daughter's fishing, my son's fishing, granddaughter is going to be fishing. She's going to be an upcoming captain, and Andrea's oldest son is fishing. It's just awesome to see. And getting out in the water, like on a day like today, it's just beautiful out in the water. I mean, we're born to be on the water.
I can see it when she's fishing, how much she loves it on the water. So I'm going with it, and I'm excited to see what she's gonna want to do, if she's gonna want to carry on that tradition. I do believe that she will.
She's always been a good fisherman, been very lucky, and most of the time she would be high boat. So it's within her blood, and I can see her daughter, Maddie, being the same way, and she's quite independent, probably even more independent than her mom when she was that age, so it's awesome to see.
I think it's really important as a Coast Salish person, to be able to bring my daughter out here, to teach the ways of the Coast Salish people, in her identity as a Coast Salish person. So it makes me quite proud to be able to teach her those things, something that my dad had handed down to me. I'm handing it to her, and she'll be able to hand it down to her kids. You know, being able to provide for our community as well, and to feed our people that may not be able to come out on the water.
The territory that we occupied went from Vancouver proper, where we reside right now, all the way up to approximately beyond Deep Cove area and across the mountain over to Pitt Lake and Pitt River and over down to the Fraser River and then down to where the Tsawwassen First Nation now resides. And the maritime of our land, of our people, we have always been deep sea-going people. You know, we lived off the water, we lived off the land. The sea was not considered something different from us. That was our backyard. The river, the delta, the water, the Salish Sea, that was feeding us, cleansing us.
I grew up from a very young age on a boat. By the time we were 12, 13, we knew how to mend nets. We knew how to throw out a net off of a gill netter. We knew how to pick up net, take fish out and everything. And it wasn't a matter of being told, we just seeing it being done and we'd go jump in there and do it. You know, can I take this fish out and everything like that? And then it just naturally became a part of us. We used to have championship canoes down here, the Seven Sisters and the Endeavour. And we lost them in a longhouse fire. When our longhouse burnt down, we lost our 2 canoes. We went out without canoes for, about 25 years, something like that.
We had no connection to that water other than fishing. There's more meaning to water to our people than just fishing. And our children didn't get to understand that or feel that.
We revived that canoe club. We took us 9.5 years to get a canoe. And now we've got 3 canoes. This was the first year we were back in competition this year.
It was like bees to honey. Our young children just gravitated immediately. You know, it was instinctive. It was something inborn into them before time.
I started paddling when I was 11 years old. And I still paddle today. I take the little ones out, the 7 and 8-year-olds. The kids grow up with a sense of pride that their bodies are pure, they feel good, they feel healthy, they got a lot of energy, and they're not into drugs or alcohol, and they just thrive in it.
The Squamish Nation territory goes from New West to the airport, all the ways up to Whistler and past Whistler. Our people have always been part of the water. The water is very important to us. It sustains our life. If you look at Squamish Nation, we cover many large rivers like the Squamish River, the Fraser River, Indian Arm. And to be able to do that, you had to be the fastest to the fish, you had to be the fastest to get there. And if you could imagine, boat building or racing canoes were pretty important, yeah. And canoe building was passed down through the generations from before contact. My family has been canoe building for centuries. My father's generation was forbidden to potlatch. When our race evolved and we started racing each other, we were able to bypass that and we'd be able to gather together. And all the teachings from past history and from thousands of years made it through that ban of potlatching. And through that, the building of canoes was passed on from generation to generation. And you could ask any maritime, any canoe builder, anywhere on the planet, a boat builder, you know, designing a boat handed from grandfather to son to his son is really, really important. When my dad first taught me how to build a canoe, we were in our teens and he had 3 logs delivered to the front of the house. And he brought us outside and he said, I'm going to show you this once and once only. If you get it, you probably will, but if you don't, you probably never will. And we built our 3 canoes. We understood that building a dugout canoe from a solid log, it was an entity and it had its own spirit. You can actually feel the spirit when you move through the water, when you're racing it. You can feel it when it runs. This is the first canoe that I've ever built. I always regretted selling it. My family was mad right away when they heard that I sold it. After 30 years, I finally get her back. I think it's really important for Squamish youth to take part in our racing. I think it defines us. If you ask yourself, what is a Squamish? Or what do we still do that Squamish once did? And canoeing is pretty close to the top of the list. And in my book, I would say it's the top of the list. You know, as time goes on, the city gets bigger and we just keep paddling. I think if we could, you know, we'd paddle forever. 10 generations or 100 generations, our people will always be paddling here.